was reminded when we talk about Israelis and decision making that when we talked about why has so many entrepreneurs and founders in Israel and startups in general, and I heard a story about the PISA test. It's like the third time I tell it, and it's one of my interviewee told me. So many years ago, they had this research, and they gave these tests to kids, and we're not that good in math. So Israel is about like Mexico; it's not that good. But what they did do is they asked them how good they are, how sure you are that you'll be a very successful in this test. And there the Israeli kids came first because they were so sure of themselves. And I think that it relates to the mindset that I'm so sure that I'm good, although I don't have any credentials, right?
That's a great story. There is a classic study from Harvard. It's not a politically correct one, so I apologize. But it was 40 years ago. They didn't know that it's not allowed. They're not allowed to do it. So they try to figure out what's the pattern, what's the common about all those boys who date the most beautiful girls, the most wanted girls. Okay,
Mhm.
and they checked income and cars they drive and how tall they are, any kind of different features, and none of them were correlated to the actual success. And the only one variable which correlated was how many times you're willing to try and not to give
Yeah,
up.
right.
So those who just tried more and more and more, in some they had terrible conversion rates, but by the end
Conversion.
of the day, the most desirable dates.
Yeah.
So that's exactly about the same. How you feel, how it's not just about believing in yourself. It's also to be able to contain so many fails. That's not an
Yeah.
easy thing to do, and
Yeah.
and that's also one of our strengths here in Israel.
Yeah. That's what Winston Churchill said. So success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. That's what
All
he said.
right.
So it's
And
the
he
same
knew
thing.
thing or two about failure. We
Right.
like to remember the great Churchill of the World War II, and we forget that just the day after they kicked him off from the office, and he remained historian.
Yeah. So I want to ask you one last thing. So, what is the most surprising thing you learned about people after so many years of experience?
Wow. First of all, I'm in love with behavioral economics because people keep surprising me every day. The most surprising thing, I would say, our superpower to get adopted, to adapt. That's an actual superpower. We can adapt to everything and we don't know it. So if you ask someone, how would you feel if you lose an arm, right, in a car accident? People sure that they're gonna kill themselves. And if you check a year after they actually lost their arm, they're exactly the same person. So we have an amazing and vice versa, right? If you're getting, I don't know, the biggest prize in the lottery, right? My life will change, and year after you're exactly the same person. So our ability to adapt is just nothing less than a superpower, and we should use it. You should believe in it and use it.
Okay, it's been really interesting. So I have another one, although we have like 1 minute. Your
Sure.
number one tip for managers and leaders.
I guess don't be protective, which is very broad. It means to hire people who are smarter than you. It means to be very open about decision making. It means not to be afraid of be transparent. It means many, many different things. But the core of it would be don't be protective, right? Be supportive and ask for support from your team because it's not about you, it's about how you help your team to succeed.
That's really interesting. So thank you, Alex. How could people hear more about you and maybe hear one of your lectures and your work and contact you?
So just type my name in Google, Alex Shilman. You can find my personal site. You can find my two consulting companies, one devoted to high-tech industry and another one for strategic consulting. I write on DeMarker regularly, less in the past few months, but used to. So just